Hey everybody, welcome to Workforce Gaming. I'm Brad, here with Doug.
Hey.
We got a code for Bionic Bay, which is one of those cool indie games that I literally never heard of, and then saw some very cool screenshots for, and then
Sure.
saw some very good reviews for, and went, I'm curious.
But when you were playing Bionic Bay, I had not heard about it at all. And like I am not one who's particular about video game names, but we read like a lot of kind of like indie games that we may or may not be. And Bionic Bay, which seems like some of those things that would fall into kind of like not a great name. Okay, you watch the trailer and you're like, eh. But I was like, oh well, God, this looks incredible. Like it's just like
bad name, great game. Bad name, great game.
Yeah.
What this game is, and I think what immediately drew me to it, is if you look at it, it looks exactly like Limbo inside one of those things. And you're just watching like, oh, okay, cool, I get it. I like those games. Those look really fun. But then as you watch, you're like, oh shit, this has like puzzles and platforming, and looks like if you took those games and actually put some challenge to them, because Limbo and Inside you can basically just walk through. Like, yeah, there's a couple like move the box and da-da-da, but those you can just walk through. This game is pretty tough, and it plays like an instant restart. So it's kind of like if you took like Inside and Limbo and like meshed it with Super Meat Boy and added in some like weird puzzle solving thing. The game that comes to my mind just because you can do it, and this is the Swapper. I don't know if you played that. It's like 5 or 6 years old. But because you've got like weird like teleporting powers like that. You have all of these different pieces kind of coming together to make this game that are kind of like the best parts of other games. It's it works. Like that's the weird thing where I feel like sometimes these amalgamation games just kind of like, okay, I get it. You're doing Inside, but it's not as good as Inside. You're trying to be like it. They all work. So because as you go through this, it's just going to the right. You kind of initially get the slow build of like, oh, okay, I'm just going through it, and the first couple levels are just kind of walking through it. Okay, then you get like a new power every level, and these powers change almost every level. So you get like I can teleport with things. There's weird gravity things. There's different like bullets shooting around at you. You can time stop things. It's all just, it's so good, and every single thing works and feels great.
I was watching some like there's like a trailer for this, like an accolades trailer for it, where like a guy is running through like turrets and swapping and doing like all this crazy shit. I'm just like, why? It looked like really overwhelming because it looked like they were doing like 3 or 4 things at a time, and just like, and then it looked just like really intense on top of that. Like, is it fun doing all this stuff, or is it just like, okay, okay?
So, well, here's what I'll say. I think the first, it's like 23 levels, 24, 25 levels, something like that long. The first like 18, flawless, fantastic, amazing, no stress, just kind of running through them. There's some challenging parts here and there, but nothing that's more than like, okay, oh, I get it. I should have put the box here and jumped to the box. Or, okay, I can make that jump. I'll do that jump next time. And again, it's at that quick, just instant restart thing. As soon as you die, you just pop right back up. It's got great checkpoints. The last like 5 levels are where you get to that, because basically each level up till that has its own unique power. It's like, this is very clearly the gravity level. This is very clearly the like stop time level. By the end, you get to like, oh, no, here's all your powers.
Oh, geez.
Now try and use them all to solve this. So, like, I would get to a point where it's like, I think I just have to move this piece here, and then I'm good. But it's like, oh, no, I have to move that piece there, and I have to teleport back to this thing, and I have to stop time so the bullet doesn't. So that's where I'll admit, like, I'm okay at these games to a point. That's where I, like, just hit a hard roadblock. Like, I think I put maybe, like, this game took me maybe, like, 6 hours. I think the first 18 levels took me like 3.5.
You were sweating. I was getting some nervous texts from you about finishing this game.
It took me like 2.5. I will readily admit there was a YouTube video I had pulled up a couple times. I was like, I just need to watch somebody do this. Like, okay, that's how I do it. And then I still messed it up 6 times in a row, and then finally got it. So I got to kind of that frustration factor in the last part, but the first 75% of it, or it's actually, at least the trophies break it up into 3 chunks. So the first 2/3, nice and easy. The last third, where you start doing that, just okay, rough time. But I never got to the point where I was like, I'm not having fun with this because it feels so good to play. Yeah. And I think that's like, we talked about Super Meat Boy. Like that
sounds
game
like
is frustrating. Yes, and Trials. Yeah. It's frustrating as hell, but because 95% of the time you feel like it's on you
Yeah.
when you screw up. It doesn't get to that frustration point of like, I just want to throw the controller down and be done with this, because you're like,
Hmm.
no, I screwed that up. I should have hit the roll button a half second earlier and I
Hmm.
would have made that jump. I should have, had I held out a half second longer and moved that piece over just a little bit further, I would have made it. So because it's always on you in this, it feels like, and because the gameplay just does feel so good, which a game like this
Yeah.
needs, it's not frustrating. It is fun because it doesn't feel like you're being cheated.
Yeah, I always feel like that's super important with difficult games, that the controls just have to be there. Like they have to be
Yeah.
100% the best. That's like games like Celeste or like Trials and Super
Yes.
Meat
Yep.
Boy. Like the one thing of the Hades, like really difficult games, like those controls have got to be as tight as possible. So I mean, that sounds awesome. The question I had with the thing is like we talked a little bit about earlier. It's kind of like Inside and that. So like so it's like a nailed the gameplay, but like I think Inside and stuff like Little Nightmares, which I don't know if there's like a
Yep.
name for Neva cinematic platformers. Like, does it feel like it's still meeting those at the level they are as far as like the environment and like the stories they're telling? So it's like, okay, it's got the gameplay, but like, is it, I don't know, is it that level as far as like the story and the visuals and that kind of stuff?
Visuals, absolutely. There's a couple scenes in this. I mean, within probably the first 20 minutes, we're like, oh my gosh, that was cool. Like, there's one
Yeah.
where you get to the end, and this is like maybe like the first couple levels, and you get to the end, and you're just kind of looking out into this black thing with stars. And I
Mm.
died twice because like do I just jump? And then I went, oh, you can climb the stars.
Oh, that's cool. That's sick. Yeah.
There's another one where there's a couple times where you just will get to the end of something and it's literally just like there's just floating rocks and you just kind of have to like scale down them. It's got lots of like that dirty, grimy sci-fi feel, I think is why
Sure.
like where the inside piece comes into, where it's like you're just walking through goop and there's these big robot parts. There's like weird like sci-fi like biological looking parts all over
Hmm.
stuff like so it very much has that world feel that works really well where you're like, okay, there's very clearly like a world structure here. It is interesting to look at. There's a lot of different things that you see. They kind of blend the stuff together between levels really well. I mean, it is very clear sectioned off into levels. So you get a little bit of that, like, oh, this is the ice level and this
Yeah.
is the fire level. You get a little bit of that, but even that you can see, okay, but they took parts from these to kind of make it a cohesive world. But I do think that world design and just the visuals of it, I think easily stands up there with Limbo and Inside. I think
Hmm.
it looks that good and it has that many, oh shit, what am I looking at? This is cool moments in it.
That's awesome. Yeah. Did it make you cry though?
Story,
No, I'm just kidding.
no.
Yeah.
Story
Inside made me
wise,
cry, but that just made me feel a lot of
yeah.
different things.
Story wise though, I do think that's kind of the game's like one shortcoming is it's just
Yeah.
it has like I don't know how many, maybe 5 or 6 like big text jumps where it's like you find like a
Oh,
text
yeah.
log of somebody, which an Inside and a Limbo and a lot of those games don't necessarily have any of that. It's just kind of like it's all just told through the visual medium that you're looking at, whereas this actually
Hmm.
has those text dumps, which I don't think the world itself presented a full story like those do, but
Hmm.
those texts kind of give you an idea of what's going on, but it's very like purposely obtuse where you're like you could
Sure.
interpret it like 3 different ways like, oh, like
Yeah.
is this am I in like one's referencing maybe this is another dimension and maybe this is some alien or maybe it's an alien
Yeah.
thing, and so it's like lots of like most of them are like these people hypothesizing about what's going on when you read them, so you're
Hmm.
like, oh, okay, maybe.
Yeah, that's tough. Because I feel like that
So
sometimes like either totally works or just like totally kind of doesn't.
but it's one of those things where everything else is firing on like every
Yes.
possible
Yeah.
cylinder,
Sure.
like that
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
like, okay, yep, world amazing looking, gameplay feels perfect, like
Hmm.
progression great, difficulty curve great, story I guess there's one,
Yeah. Sure.
but this one
Yeah.
scene looked amazing, and that's kind of how I felt about it, where it's like at no point I don't want to call it like an arcade game, but like it almost felt like that, where it's like, oh yeah, I'm just going
Sure.
through the levels, just like a precision
Hmm.
platformer. It just happens to have that cinematic platformer
Yeah.
look to it, and it's just
That's
a
cool.
it's a really cool blend of those two concepts of you can have something that is just this weird, and I think most of them don't quite get into the world and the look as much as they do, but like you can have that Super Meat Boy, sorry to keep going back to the same one, where it's just this is a pure difficulty game, and that's the fun of it. That's what we're doing here. And you can mesh that with the no, we just want you to like experience this world cinematic thing, and you can blend those and create this very cool game called Bionic Bay right in the middle of that.
That is pretty cool because I mean, they are usually not exactly how you said. I think like Hades might be one of the few that actually can do that, but there are very, very few games that can do that's really strong art style plus the really tight gameplay. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I know. Just like I guess I gotta get put it on the list.
I also don't want to focus too much on difficulty because I do think it's a get throughable game. Like, there's no point in this where I'm like, you're gonna be too dumb to figure out a puzzle, or like you're not gonna have the like ability to get through this platforming section. Everything felt doable if you put a little bit of time into it. Especially, like I said, if you cheat like me and are like, I ain't got the patience for this. I tried 5 times. Oh, yep. Okay, move it over there. So
I think looking at guys is just like inherent to games now. Like it's just part of games.
It's weird. It's weird. Like there are very few games where I don't at some point just be like, I want to just look this up. Like I think that might just be like an old guy thing. It's like we both have limited time for this. So it's like I don't have the time to like spend an hour trial and erroring my way through this like platforming section. Just show me where to. I tried, couldn't do it. Show me where to go. I don't have time to figure out the best way to get this armor and this. Can somebody just show me? Okay, cool, thanks. I don't need to go around and explore the whole world behind it. I got 20 minutes before my kid wakes up. Sorry.
Yeah. I'm super stubborn about not looking stuff up, but Blueprints is starting to get me there. But like there are like a few games like I will fight tooth and nail. We do have to have that major discussion one day of like games wasting our time and how we perceive it totally different on what a game is wasting our time.
Yes.
One day we'll have that discussion. Yeah.
Not today. Today is just that Bionic Bay is fantastic.
Yeah.
Great game. But we are Workforce Gaming. Subscribe to our channel. Leave a comment below. There's links to our and coffee as well. See you later.
Bye.